Hi, I'm Daniel Mullen, and you're watching Purebred Reds, Adelaide United Fan TV.
G'day guys, and welcome to the Purebred Reds Adelaide United Fan TV. I'm your host Ellis Gelios. We're in the studio tonight to preview our game against Brisbane Roar with their new manager Robbie Fowler, the Liverpool legend, making his first trip to Adelaide as a manager. And it's fitting that I'm joined by the chairman of the Liverpool Supporters Club in Adelaide, Mr. Steve Trickey. How are you, Steve?
Alice, how you doing? I'm good, mate.
Good to have you in. It's great to do a Liverpool themed show as a massive Red, which I am and which we both are. Robbie Fowler, obviously God, as we call him. Very exciting to see that he's coming to town in a very much a new role that I'm not sure many people expected to see him get announced as the manager of Brisbane Roar this season. Nevertheless, it's very exciting.
Yep.
It's going to be a very Liverpool-centric show, as I've mentioned.
Excellent.
So let's get straight into it. Just tell us a bit about yourself. Obviously, you are the chairman of Liverpool Supporters Club in Adelaide. How's all that running?
It's running really, really well. From small things in 2006, we've kind of grown that. You know, the couple of trips that the club's made out to shores, particularly to Adelaide, have really kind of driven that and made people more aware of the fact that supporters clubs exist and so on. So we're in a kind of a good place at the moment, a bit of an odd place. Leading up to the last two Champions League finals, the kind of momentum grown. But this season, all of our game times are not the best for getting out to the pub to watch and shout. But
that will improve, as I understand.
Of course, that'll improve.
Yeah.
You know, daylight savings is the killer for us. Put that 10.5 hours ahead, and then they move our games to a Sunday night. That makes it difficult, but with that comes the better start times in Champions League games. So
absolutely,
6 o'clock up you get, go to the pub, have breakfast, go to work. Happy days.
For sure. And just being a fan right now, obviously we're the European champions 6 times, as everyone knows, and top of the Premier League, looking very, very good at the moment. Sometimes you have to pinch yourself, don't you? Because with where we were, only a handful of years ago, it's just hard to have foreseen that, we'd literally be in such an amazing position right now as a club.
Yeah, totally. Look, if you take a look at our previous US-based owners and see us being driven to the brink, and then
we're not even talking 10 years ago.
No, exactly, and only to be sold to more American owners, kind of with a
hard to be optimistic in the
it is, especially when they come out and say we don't know the first thing about it. Who would have known what may or may not Moneyball, noted for Moneyball and all that sort of thing. But the kind of false dawn with Brendan Rodgers, and then some more dire stuff. But more recently, they seem to have gotten themselves a bit together on and off the field, and
totally.
And starting to make things click. So yeah, good times.
Absolutely, Steve. I just want to quickly touch on, we'll get back to it later on in the interview, but I just want to quickly touch on 2015 because a really, really special event. Obviously, as Liverpool fans, it was very hard to ever imagine that this would get off the ground, and obviously we did have that historic friendly at Adelaide Oval, Adelaide United hosting Liverpool. What a memory that is. Probably not the greatest game, but no one remembers that part.
Friendlies, pre-season games, mate. It's just training runs. But
correct. But you were involved in the entire process of getting Liverpool to Adelaide. Just briefly sort of tell us what it was like to be on board with that.
Yeah, it was really, really good. I tell you what's the funniest thing, because in the media and in Fox, they were banging on that LFC were coming to Australia, they were going to Sydney. And the very next day on our little Facebook group, one of our members posted a photo going up the escalator at Adelaide Oval. He'd gone past one of the boardrooms and he's taken a photo of a whole bunch of people holding up Gerrard shirts.
Wow. and then the beans were spilled.
And the beans were spilled. So that was brilliant. So the formal announcement came. I was actually overseas. I was in the US.
Right.
And once that happened, the supporters club liaison wanted to start talking about logistics and so on. So that was kind of awkward because they were coordinating call times to coincide with Australian time, and I was sitting in Florida I think it was 4 o'clock in the morning in the downstairs toilet with the door shut so I don't wake the family up on a conference call. But look, that was terrific. We had a lot of passion, a lot of ideas for things that we could do. Some of that the club let us do, and some they didn't. But nonetheless, the whole build-up, the whole sequence of events that we managed to be a part of in the lead-up and during the game and then post the game, just fabulous.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. The juggernaut rolled in, the juggernaut rolled out, and in between that we all got to fill the stadium, sing and get drunk and be happy.
Yeah, I've got some great memories from that time, and we'll touch on it again later on in the interview. But anyhow, we're getting straight into the preview. So Adelaide United do host Brisbane Roar this Sunday afternoon. It's Remembrance Round as well, and there's an earlier game which will feature the Adelaide United legends up against a team that's been put together basically for the purely for the Legends game and Remembrance Day. The gates do open at 2:30 for that curtain raiser game. Now, as always, the main game can be seen on Fox Sports and the KO Sports app. So, Steve, firstly, the Legends concept is something that we see Liverpool embrace a lot, particularly for testimonial games. Nostalgic fans like myself appreciate seeing the heroes of yesteryear take to the pitch just like the good old times. Do you think this is a slightly underutilised concept, both in Australia and abroad?
Yeah, it's a good one. It's one of those, you've got to be careful how you manage it, because I guess it'd be one of those things that becomes passé very quickly.
Okay, the novelty wears off. Yeah.
But LFC have just announced next year a match against Barcelona, and Torres will return to play, and so on. So it's like, I guess as long as they can keep it fresh, what you don't want to be seeing is walking football, Legends walking football game at big stadium and so on. But I guess take it at face value. It's a community-minded thing. Well, that's how the LFC is driving it, fundraising for the foundation and so on. So yeah, absolutely a great thing, a chance to kind of understand history of a particular club and so on, which might not always be so apparent to people. But
for sure.
But there we go. Yeah, long may it continue, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. As mentioned, this is a very Liverpool FC themed show, so let's discuss Robbie Fowler. This is his maiden visit to Adelaide as a manager. Currently, he's still got everything to prove, though if he was to start picking up results and eventually win silverware and really catapult his name in the headlines overseas, should we be entertaining the same conversation, Steve, about him one day returning to the Anfield dugout as the head coach of Liverpool in the same way that people believe Steven Gerrard will be morphed into that managerial role at Liverpool in the future?
Ooh, that's a tough one. He doesn't strike me as a character. He doesn't strike you as a manager.
No.
That's how I would say it. Somebody like a Gerrard or a Carragher, or they seem to be more able to separate themselves.
The only thing I was going to throw at you is, like, people often sort of throw around the belief that the best players are never the best coaches, and so maybe 5 years ago, people didn't see that Gerrard would get into management so quickly and then be so quickly touted as a potential Liverpool manager. And we don't really have many other legends of the club from Liverpool trying to cut their teeth as managers at the moment.
Yeah. If you think back about it, I don't know. What sort of a player was Paisley?
Yeah.
That'd be a good one, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
running around. So I mean, they're good players. But look, I don't know. Robbie Fowler's a great guy, and I guess if he demonstrates,
you met him.
Yeah.
What was that like?
I think I've met him several times. He's been to Adelaide quite a bit.
He has, as a player as well. Yeah.
If not so much me, my 12-year-old and Robbie are best mates. I should have brought the photos and everything else, but every time we meet up, he remembers Sean and they have a good chat about Fortnite or whatever else his kids are up to. So,
interesting conversations.
But look, I think your point is, if he can demonstrate the ability, then whether you go straight from the A-League to the EPL might be questionable, but. If he can demonstrate the ability to, it's got to be the management skills, really, doesn't it?
Totally.
You look at the really successful managers. It's got to be the management skills. You've got to manage that squad of talent and all the egos in the room. If you can get that happening, get them playing as a team, well then that's the biggest part of the battle. If the skills are up to it, there you go, you've got the complete picture. So
pretty well said there. So what's your answer?
I was on the fence, wasn't
It's
I?
very on the fence, yeah.
Look, I think you're right. I think it does depend on achievements. You'd probably need to ask Robbie himself whether he'd have that sort of an ambition or not. He might not. He's funny and friendly, but he's probably a little bit humble as well. So
he's got some side interest too.
Yeah. So maybe that's it. But yeah,
it's interesting to see what his ceiling might end up being.
Yeah.
Anyway, obviously you're a massive fan of the club, and the height of Fowler as an idol at Liverpool was during an era that you would remember fondly. What are your best Fowler memories?
You know what? This is going to sound a bit odd, but in that period, I actually wasn't in position to keep track of the EPL too much.
Oh, really?
So other than scattered highlights, not so much.
We're talking sort of late 90s.
Yep.
Fox wasn't readily available.
Yeah,
it wasn't prominent anyway, was it?
This is a bit bizarre. So if you think about this, I started supporting Liverpool when I think it was about 8.
Yeah.
And back in those days, so we're talking about in the 70s, all you got was match of the day once a week, and if you were lucky, you saw the first game got the extended highlights, and the rest were very, very quick. So
maybe on a Sunday on ABC or something.
So to say that come the 90s, 2000s, that didn't really have the access compared to the other times, it seems a bit odd. But it was just really in that time, didn't have that much time to devote to it. So it was kind of keeping slightly aware of what was going on. So I would have to be honest and say most of my Fowler memories are from the highlights reel.
Okay. So. Well, in that case, do you have a favourite goal or? No.
I'll tell you something. The third goal for the hat trick was really, really good.
Yeah.
Just because of the. He could have cut the ball back. I think Rush was close by.
Yeah.
But just the blind confidence that, this is what I'm going to do. And he just went and did it. And I think that was the thing that marked, the hallmark of a great striker is just that kind of...
backing yourself, yeah.
But self-belief and so on. So, look, I guess if I was going to remember anything, it would be a celebration. That's not what he said it was, but...
Fair enough.
I have some other stories that I probably won't share here that have come from other acquaintances of Robbie from other times.
Fair enough. I'm not going to press you too hard for them then.
So I'll tell you off camera because they're quite good and it makes him kind of.
Can't wait. So Fowler's plans have been centred on rebuilding the Brisbane Roar by bringing a host of UK-based players who are predominantly playing in League One over there.
Yeah.
Has it got any legs to work over here? People talk quite often about the adjustment to the Brisbane sun, in particular, given we play in summer here, obviously. Do you think it's a bit bold? Like, is this sort of an illustration of the fact that he doesn't have much of a network with players, or where do you see that all going?
Yeah, it's one of those things you've got to be carefully balanced with, doesn't it? I mean, you could be bringing out has-been players.
Yeah, they're not that old.
No. I'm just saying that's a strategy that was used early on. So Heskey, Fowler,
totally. Worked in a marketability sense.
Exactly. I guess if you're careful about who you choose to bring out, and as well as the ability to kind of try and cross-promote around the world, I guess is a slight thing, and bring some stronger skills and experience in. Yeah, good thing. But I think as long as it's focused, the main focus has to remain on bringing the local talent through.
Sure.
So as long as the focus is on that, rather than just the quick and easy throw some quicks to some mates come over on a bit of a holiday and so on, then I think it should have legs, and why not? I mean, you want to be bringing people. I mean, the EPL brings people in from around the world, and in the starting days of that, Ardiles and so on coming into Spurs was kind of like what the hell is this all about?
Yeah.
And how that's gone from there. So, Yeah, but it can't be at the expense, as England I think are kind of bemoaning a little bit. Totally. Can't be at the expense of the local talent and local growth.
No, very, very well addressed there, Steve. So both teams need points badly. Now you've seen probably more football games than a lot of us over the years.
A walking stick out.
So has this got the making of a potential scrap fest of a game? Could we be in for a bit of a good old dogfight on Sunday, or are we going to see both teams come out and play expansive football, given it's still early days in the league?
Yeah, I think mostly column A.
Okay.
I would expect. It could be proved wrong. It doesn't strike me as the sort of game where it's going to be open, free flowing, football on display. As you say, I think both sides scrapping for points is probably going to be more to the point. Mm-hmm. Happy to be proved wrong, I guess, but can't see it.
Well, I don't disagree. Now, I want your prediction.
Look, I'm going to predict an Adelaide win.
Yep.
That or a VAR controversy,
which we're seeing plenty of, not just down under by the odd goal. What are you going with?
Yeah, no, I'd say it's the odd goal. I think it might be a bit of a dour game.
Yeah.
Or a floodgates game for either side, but probably Adelaide. I think.
Yeah, it's hard not to sit on the fence. When all teams are sort of in that position of trying to figure each other out. And
what's the weather for Sunday?
It's 21.
There we go. So it suits us, not them.
Yeah.
They'll be out there woolies, mate.
So, Steve, firstly, tell us about the entire operation of Liverpool's visit to Adelaide in 2015. You had a significant involvement in getting the tours signed off. So from the opening talks to the aftermath of the match at Adelaide Oval, briefly revisit the time and the experience and tell us what it was like to have this get off the ground, something many South Australians and football enthusiasts here probably never thought to be possible at various points.
It was mental. It was absolutely mental from the time I got back into Oz through to the press conference that was held early on with Robbie come out for that, through to the preparations and dealing with the club over what we could and couldn't do and how we could, ideas that we might have and so on. Look, there were so many things that we could have done, but we weren't allowed to do because, I guess, as is the way with brands, they want to protect their brand and they want to make sure there's no sort of half-assed things going on that could kind of detract from the overall event. But look, some of the buzzes that I got was we put it to LFC that we'd like to organise some sort of pre-sale reserve seating for the COP area for our members and so on, and for the other supporters clubs around the country. And they went away to talk about that, and they said, oh yeah, okay, so that's going to go all through Ticketek. They'll do a pre-sale for you. How many tickets do you want? And Sydney might have said 20 and Perth might have said 15. Under exaggerating here, whatever. I said, we'll take 1,700, thanks. Bearing in mind that I think at the time our supporters club membership was probably sitting at about 150.
Yeah, so it's fairly reflective of what you expected. Yeah.
So I said, if 150 members, I think we'll take 1,700 tickets, and we could have sold those twice over.
Wow.
In the end, but what that let us do was use that to grow the membership. So we did that on the proviso that you could get a ticket if you were a paid up member. So memberships went through the roof. We were a bit naive in how we went about doing that because a bit of miscommunication between the club and Ticketek about how payment had to be done. Long story short, here's me walking into Marion Shopping Centre to go to a credit union to deposit 60,000 in cash.
Jeez.
Because how the hell was I going to get this 60,000 to Ticketek?
Yeah.
It was the bizarrest, just to the credit union saying to me, Steve, I bet you are your sphincter's super tight, and nobody would have a clue what's in that backpack of yours. You know, it's only a small pile like this, but it's
it's significant.
60 grand. Oh my god,
60 big ones.
So, like I say, we probably could have done that twice over. Never occurred what we probably should have done, but anyway, there you go. So that too, we organised with the club to put a evening on at the Adelaide Town Hall. They supplied a couple of players. We got Garcia and Haman, I think, from memory. Got them LFC TV to come and do a bunch of things. A number of footy clinics that we put that the club put on around the place, and other kind of meet and greet events. We tried to. What we tried to do was orchestrate a fan park thing out the front of Adelaide Oval. It kind of was a bit hit and miss because just contractual obligations meant that the way that was organised meant that we couldn't do what we actually were capable of doing.
Right.
I think I said to you off camera, the biggest issue was, despite all our contacts at Adelaide Oval, they said sorry, but at 11:59 the night before, Adelaide Oval is owned by LFC,
which is unheard of. I've never heard of that happening.
Yeah, one of the things that we organised inside the ground was a mosaic across opposite the members, so the cameras would pick that up. So we had "This is Adelaide." There's a red and white kind of mosaic. Unbelievable amount of toing and froing to get that approved. Because Adelaide Oval was no problem, LFC anyway. But we got that to happen, got some great shots of that. Fabulous night amongst all the supporters around the stadium. Great stadium, not the best pitch for that sort of a game, but but a great stadium and atmosphere nonetheless. The endless stream of smiling faces that have been able to bump into players around town or outside the hotel and that sort of thing, all the banners and everything else, the after parties and so on, absolute blast.
I'll share some personal memories I have. The first real moment where I kind of realised that this was going to happen for real and I wasn't just dreaming was I was watching a game at the Arkaba in the Premier League and there was a sponsorship board.
The signs, the South Australia signs.
South Australia. And I was thinking, shit, that just flash at Anfield, like crazy times. And then I was waiting outside the Super California nightclub, which was called Go-Go's in that time, and I'd had a fair few drinks and I didn't quite know what was going on, and then suddenly I see a bus turn the corner from King William Road onto Hindley Street, and it was Liverpool's players' bus, and they were pulling into the Mayfair Hotel.
What's the actual? Ah! Come out! Please do not get in my way. Please do not get in my way. You can jump the line, I don't care, just stand in my way. Come on, boys!
Okay, I swear, if you hold your phone out, they might.
Yeah, I'm getting at least one selfie. They're all on the team. The whole team. Yes. I'm sure. I'm 100%. Do we literally jump out and just swap them? I don't care if I don't get to go. I'm just swapping. Come on, oh my, who is it? Oh, it's someone, no, it's someone, it's someone, it's someone.
And I just remember seeing the bus and it was hard to actually sort of that realization of knowing that little old Adelaide was going to play host to Liverpool FC, which for so many of us, mind you, the closest we get to Liverpool is through a television set. As you would know, it's quite a financial burden to set up a trip to Anfield. It requires a lot to go your way, and a lot of stars aligning, and so I think dream come true for so many cross Adelaide and Liverpool fans, which there are a lot of, but particularly the Liverpool fans, the pure Liverpool fans that are based here to have that
for sure
experience, to be able to cherish that memory, and we owe you a debt of gratitude as someone that played a part in orchestrating it all.
Look, our focus was really on making it as enjoyable and getting the fans involved as much as we could. That was the kick that we all got out of that. That was brilliant. So, look at the, but I do have to say that the press conference that was held early in the piece at Adelaide Oval, we were having a chat. We were having a chat to the government peeps at the time, and they kind of acknowledged that that one of our members, Matt Selby, had kind of, through his role as a supporter liaison back to the club, was aware of the business machinations and had kind of put a bit of a seed in to SA government that there was an opportunity that LFC would go where the money is, for want of a term, I guess.
Totally.
And that and I guess that was how. I guess that's how it was. Today it's going to be in Sydney. Tomorrow, actually, no, it's not. It's in Adelaide.
Yeah.
So I guess the supporters club can kind of claim some aspect to that. Whether that's
unquestionably
could well have been politician handshaking speak at the press conference, but you can't deny that there would have been some element of that to it. But look, the fact that so many people got to experience it in more than just turning up to watch the game was really the kicker for us.
And the fact that we were so well represented abroad, because the rendition became famous of "You'll Never
Absolutely,
Walk Alone."
all of those haven't they? The Melbourne one was phenomenal. The Adelaide one, I got to say this. At the MCG,
it was louder.
There's 95,000 people, but they played the song all the way through, and you could hear it all the way through.
Which,
in Adelaide, I'm not saying they did it solely for Adelaide. Maybe it was a thing they'd started to do, but they only played the song across the PA 2/3 of the way, and then they turned it off, and it was just the crowd. I don't think they did that in Brisbane. I went to Brisbane the week before, and I don't think they did that there, and that was a fantastic atmosphere as well, by the way.
There you go, that's incredible. I wasn't even privy to that.
It's a thing I think I've noticed they now do at Anfield as well. As it gets to the end, they start to fade out.
Just let the fans filter out.
But certainly those big away games like that, or big away crowds, I should say. It's not a big game at Adelaide, but absolutely the crowd makes it.
Now, just euphoric seeing all the Adelaide welcomes Liverpool FC flags around the CBD, just incredible memories, which we'll never forget. Now, finally, Steve, enlighten us about how Adelaide-based Liverpool fans can engage with the supporters club and what the future holds for it, particularly with the Arkaba as the home base for the group. It's probably one of the biggest and unquestionably the best EPL-based Adelaide supporter groups.
Yeah, so we have a Facebook group, LFC Adelaide. It's a closed group, so you get
that's a forum group and a page.
So there's a page, there's a public page where we'll put our events, and then we'll share them into the closed group for chat, and it's kept closed just because, as official supporters club, the club has. We have responsibilities back to the club about policies, and so as great as banter is, that's not the place for that sort of banter.
Absolutely,
so that's closed. So Facebook groups, LFC Adelaide, tick the boxes, moderators will let you in or not, and away you go. So that's one way. We do have a Twitter account, but that's less popular. Everything's LFC Adelaide.
Get liking.
Yeah, exactly. But of course, the mainstay is the match day events. And like I say, this season's not been so kind for us. The Arkaba are really for the most part, really great hosts. They want to be a sports bar. They want to be the best sports bar. The facilities they've got are pretty smick. The different zones and so on, which is really great because it means that we can get nights where there's supporters from every club that's playing.
There's a lot of memorabilia around as well.
Yeah. So it's a really great thing. They really do their best to look after us, and we try and look after them in return. All of our former player events we host at the Arkaba. They'll provide that to us at no cost because they know we're going to spend a bit of cash there. But that upstairs function room and the other function rooms work really well for what we do. And those Champions League nights are just insane. So,
except the final whistle in 2018. But
well, that is unfortunate. But the night itself was brilliant.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
We outgrew the Arkaba for 2019, which was a bit unfortunate, but I know that people found other places to go and that those were really well attended as well. But that's the thing. You find us on Facebook if we're having an event, and away you go. But you can guarantee that if it's a Saturday night game where the kickoff is before the 1:30 game, we'll be at the Arkaba.
It's absolutely perfect, especially if you've lined up a bit of a night out.
Yep.
What perfect way is there other than to finish that off by heading to the Arkaba and catching the game with fellow supporters? I always find it's just something we take for granted here, quite honestly.
Absolutely. Many nights where they've had a band on. Oh my God, a band on at the sports bar. But some nights they've had a band on and we've sung the band and made the band
good.
Sort of take an extended break.
Yeah.
But whatever other crowd is there, they're blown away. Not just by Liverpool. I mean, if you get the Chelsea fans or sometimes the Arsenal fans,
occasionally United ones.
Well, if mum's let them out,
yeah,
you can get them off their phones and out of the couches. That the other people that are populated that are attending the bar for whatever, even if it's there to watch some other random sport event, they're knocked out by the atmosphere and the banter that goes on at those things. They're just top nights.
Beautiful stuff, Steve. Walking football. Gathering some momentum here in Adelaide. Tell us about it.
Who knew this was a thing? Actually, I was approached by, I was aware of this a few years ago. I was actually approached by one of our members who wanted to start something up. And I said, absolutely, if you get it going, we'll throw our support behind it. And it kind of went quiet for a few years, and then it popped up again the other week. And it turned out that there's a group that have been bouncing around a few different venues on and off, a bit casual, and they had an event out at the Lights Community Centre, so we went along and had a look. It was only about 15 or so, but we played walking football for a couple of hours. So if you think about an indoor football game where you don't run, no head height, the ball can't go above head height, no body contact, no physical tackles, aimed at the older people to get out and active and reduce any risk to injury. I had a blast. Who knew it? Probably the first 10 minutes I was itching to run, and then after that died away. It was quite easy to walk. So it was quite, it's still, you still got to use a bit of energy to do it. And they told me that FFSA are running a comp Friday nights out at West Beach. So
amazing stuff.
We're looking at getting the information for that. We'll probably look to sponsor a couple of members, LFC Adelaide sides into that, and I'd probably encourage the Chelsea, the Arsenal and the United and the other groups, the Saints and so on, to probably do likewise.
So obviously a fantastic social
absolutely.
Well,
So I think the way they're promoting it is like 50 plus, 60 plus, 70 plus kind of divisions, but this game, this group on Sunday was all ages really. We had a young kid, probably only 9 or 10 playing. We had so women are playing and all sorts of ages. So it's something people have never played before. So it's just an opportunity to get out and get a bit active. So yeah, totally. Be keen to see what the deal at West Beach is.
Well, Steve Trickey, the LFC supporters of Adelaide chairman, you've rushed over here from a conference call, which was inclusive of all supporter groups for Liverpool across the Asia Pacific region. I'm gonna let you get out of here. Great to get you on the show. Please keep doing what you do. We love the service that you've provided many Liverpool fans for a long amount of years now. Great to get you on the show. Up the Reds on Sunday, and make sure you get out there and witness Robbie Fowler in his first visit to Adelaide as a manager. Steve, great to have you here.
Good on you, Ellis. Great to be here, mate.
Cheers.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Bye.